Occasionally I come across a series that makes it hard for me to stop watching. This is what I felt when I started binging Ace of the Diamond. What makes this crazy is that I actually find baseball boring.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Alright, I know saying that is bad, but come on, there's 1,000 games a year and I cannot seem to get into it. And I know a lot of people out there feel the same way. I mean, at least I watched a decent amount of World Series and regular season games at the beginning of the last decade, if that helps. But what I think made the World Series and this show interesting are how each finds a way of building up moments or games conveying how important it is to a viewer. The only difference is I already had an idea of what is significant in real baseball. Also, I'm a San Francisco Giants fan, so I was actually privileged enough to see them win a couple of them. But to a novice, you would not know that. In contrast, the show perfectly illustrates the sport, exposing you to these great moments. I love watching shows that talk about something I barely know anything about because I discover a lot from it. When I learn valuable lessons from a character's experience, I instantly love it way more. Seeing how pragmatic the show is makes it feel personal, which is why we can all vibe with the series that goes into a subject that we did not care to get into beforehand. I bet a substantial number of people loved volleyball because of Haikyuu. Many people saw Initial D and are now in love with cars. Getting exposed to these subjects helps cultivate an understanding of why people in the real world love sports. You get to see the best out of the sport, so it makes you think differently, which to an untrained eye, you would not have noticed that with real sports unless you have some idea of what is happening or have the motivation to figure it out. Honestly, I don't know where I'm going with this, but I think this fits perfectly with Ace of the Diamond. I think even if you don't care for baseball, I would still strongly suggest this show. But before getting into why, let's dive into the synopsis first, so you have an idea of what the show is about. The show starts by showing Ejun Sawamura pitching a stray ball to the fence and loses his final middle school baseball game. Frustrated by his defeat, Ejun and his teammates vow to reach the national tournament once they are in high school. But everything changes when a recruiter unexpectedly invites him to Tokyo's prestigious Seido High School after seeing the potential in his unusual pitching style. He gets to the school and already hates it since it has everything you need to succeed in the sport, and he's prideful about it. As he sees a noisy batter take down a pitcher during their practice, Ejun decides to confront him, which leads to a battle between pitcher and batter. After this battle, Ejun starts to sway on his vows since he's highly motivated to play with really good ass players. Encouraged by his teammates, Ejun accepts the offer. He is ready to improve his skills and play at a much more competitive level of baseball, but surrounded by many skilled players, Ejun struggles to find his place on the team. He declares that he will become the team's ace in the future, but that's only if first year Satoru Furuya doesn't take this title first, who already earned a spot on the starting roster because of his great ass pitching. With the addition of these talented new players to an already powerful lineup, the Seido baseball team aims to become the best in Japan, facing off against several formidable teams that stand in their way. Honestly, the synopsis is just the beginning of the story since there are 3 seasons that are long as fuck. Season 1 being 72 episodes and the next 2 make up 51 and 52 episodes, so it's a long ass series. So there's a lot of in-depth content, meaning that was just the tip of the iceberg with the synopsis. What makes a series prosper is its unique way of telling the story in sports. Usually sports anime go with an underdog story or a dark horse narrative, but this show decided to have a powerhouse team to overcome obstacles and win the nationals. Also, I noticed the show would have different narratives for each season because of a circumstance that would come by with every game. So the show didn't get stale towards the end since the setup of each arc made it compelling. Seeing the show not be afraid to do what they want makes the story feel more realistic. Some examples are them bringing in new coaches, having the team lose, overcoming injuries, and even making people overcome slumps. I feel that this anime pulled in everything from the real world and made it more compelling. The plot kept me on my feet wondering if what I think I anticipate will come true. I swear I would expect a team to win or someone to succeed, then bam, some crazy shit would go down. There was a lot of processing because of how each character decided to dictate the games or practices, which is the next thing I wanted to discuss. The best part of the show is the characters of the team. The story focuses on the main character being Sawamura, but it also deters away focusing on the other teams or opponents. All the characters are just as important as the main character, so you begin to forget the star player in the series. They give you a decent amount of character development in each teammate, which brings more impact on seeing them succeed or damn right failing. Also, each teammate has a unique set of skills, which made it feel more realistic. Then we had a narrative for each team, which works out perfectly because it also added a lot of depth in each backstory. It was difficult to get bored watching one team since the show tied everything together well, which caught me by surprise since I tend to get bored with random character backstories. but I think the show did everything perfectly. They'll show you the struggles that each school has to overcome. They display the will and the spirit from parents, coaches, and teammates for a character to succeed. Honestly, I can go on an hour tangent on each character, but obviously I don't want to make it boring, so I'll kind of speed through it. Sawamura is a great main character with an easy and linear mindset when it comes to his goals. Every time he pitched, I would feel more comfortable with the story even if he was ass at pitching. I loved seeing how hungry he was to strive for his goals and seeing him overcome all the obstacles that he had. Furio was a great rival to Sawamura. At first I was like, fuck this guy, but I began to start liking him more since it was hard to hate on him. The other pitchers are cool, but honestly I could not give two shits about them since I wanted Sawamura to succeed. Honestly, they had great character development as well, and I love seeing their mindsets for how they pitch. This guy was my favorite character in the series because he was shy as fuck but would still fuck up another team if he's motivated enough. He's a younger brother to this dude, and honestly, I loved him more. The catchers are dope as well. Chris is a great teacher to Sawamura and is a Chad. Miyuki is a big brain when it comes to baseball and honestly made the tactile plays really interesting to follow. Seido's coach is really cool, and 95% of the time he says the best lines in the story. He brings the team in and brings out the most in each character. My only complaint though is that this guy was annoying since he flips out every once or twice in the game. Narumiya is one of the best pitchers in the show and is the guy who fucks up most of the teams. Then he has really good players that make up his team who are basically all-stars. The one funny part is that they have a guy named Carlos and obviously they make him the runner. I just thought it was funny that the show made him that way. Alright, I'm gonna just highlight some players that I enjoyed watching. Raichi is honestly a dumbass and his biggest asset is his ability to hit the ball. He basically fucks up a lot of pitchers and destroys the character's mindset. The show's biggest asset is its characters, so if you love character-driven stories, then you'll like this show. It brings you into each mindset, so whenever they're frustrated, you feel frustrated. Whenever they're sad, you're sad. Whenever something comes up, you can get a personal view of it, making the series feel more immersive. My only complaint is that sometimes you can tell that the show didn't want to spend unnecessary time with some characters. So you get multiple of them with the same personality, but with different reskins. Also, they did America dirty in the later parts of the story. Like, why does this dude look like Michael Jackson with longer hair? I feel that the series had solid art and animation. The show is animated by two studios, Madhouse and Production IG, who have made series such as One Punch Man, Hunter x Hunter, Death Note, Attack on Titan, Haikyuu, etc, etc. So you know that the series won't be pulling any punches. There was a lot of impact in different scenes, making it easy to follow. Like, oh shit, the ball is coming in really quick, or oh shit, this batter has an aura around him, I gotta throw cautiously. The usage of lines in each pitch made it easy to follow the ball trajectory since there are several ways to throw it. Yes, at points the show felt bland, but man, when you needed a scene done right, they got it done. The environment was visually appealing since it brought you into the mental state of a character. It made the game feel more isolated even though they were in a big ass stadium. These scenes in the combination with the use of blue and red made moments feel more impactful. However, I would say that the character designs were standard, but it makes sense since the show was supposed to invoke realism. The only complaint I had was that they overused the white background effect a lot and the overall series was kind of tiring at points. I think it's still a solid adaptation and has many big wow moments.
すいません。チャンス作れませんでした。
What also assisted the show was the sound and background music. As I mentioned before in my first video, learning when a person has improved can be tough to figure out if you know a little about the subject, but with the combination of sound and animation, it was pretty effortless to figure out. Having the heavy sounds in each pitch and the swing of a bat made the show feel more realistic. It just hit you in the chest with every wow moment, especially in pressure situations where you would hear their heart thumping before a throw or a swing. I swear I was uppercutted in the stomach with numerous wow moments when I was anticipating so much. This will be another spoiler warning, but I really want to talk about parts of the show that I loved. Here's the timestamp if you want to skip it. Alright, to make this quicker, I will highlight one game from each season. The build up to this matchup could honestly be an underrated staple of the show. With the rival showdown, Seido wanted to get revenge for their loss in the previous season, so you knew some crazy shit would happen. Honestly, I did not know where this would lead. At points I would be like, oh shit, are they going to win? And then the series would shift the mood in the next inning. I love this game and it honestly is really hard to express why I did. Then ultimately when Seido loses, I felt it because the show's momentum got cut in half. It made me feel confused about the character's future. I really like reading forums or conversations on different episodes, and I saw several people complain about them losing. Like, people realize that in sports you lose, right? And that players move on with their lives. I love that the show wasn't afraid to lose its main characters since it made the show feel more realistic and unique. I cannot think of another sports anime that has done that, so yeah, it was another element that I loved about the show. I loved all the times that they played each other. These matches set the season up and are basically the benchmark of what the series is about. Seeing Sawamura get destroyed in one game then come back strong in the next one was frustrating yet satisfying to see. It builds his character more. The show dives into struggles and overcoming obstacles with an emphasis on it. Then seeing Raichi get his moments were dope to see since he got better throughout each game that they played. It was funny to see the curveballs that they would throw at you, like him pitching. I was just like, what the fuck is happening right now? Honestly, the third season didn't really have any big moments, besides when Sawamura finally gets into his bag and does really well in the show. I got kind of fatigued towards the end of this season since I was trying to binge it, so it was frustrating to see this dude get all the love in the Nationals. However, I did love that Sawamura finally became the ace. It's just the show did him dirty in the first game. I will say though, making Furia important again towards the end made it feel better, since the last thing I want to see is a whole season of doubt, resentment, and frustration to an extent. Also, it ended at a late point, but I'm excited about the next season. Alright, I'm done with the rambling. Let's get into why you should watch this show. I believe anyone who has or hasn't dived into the sports genre should watch this show. One, it's probably the best sports anime out there and can be held up to anime such as Haikyuu, Hajime no Ippo, etc. If you've never watched baseball in your entire life, I still think you can enjoy the series. There have been several shows I've watched without knowing a single thing about the subject yet learned a lot from it, which is one of the big reasons why I love anime. Some examples that pop into my head are March Comes In Like a Lion. I barely knew anything about shogi, yet I was able to comprehend what was happening. Shit, even Haikyuu helped me learn a lot about volleyball. I mean, I'm a novice when it comes to baseball, but I believe I've already learned so much about the sport just because I've watched the show. What you might also love is how unpredictable it is. I feel that shows that make the plot unpredictable are rated way higher. So that's why anime like Attack on Titan is seen as a masterpiece, because you don't know if someone will die or if a character is an enemy. Ace of the Diamond made it feel more gripping because we didn't know if the team would win or lose. Shit, even deciding who will be on the team or receive a number brought a lot of doubt and anticipation. Anyway, to conclude, if you want to watch a show with a lot of depth in its characters, story, settings, and plot, then this show is for you. You'll experience a lot of high-level action with thought put behind it while giving you that shonen-like drama. I don't know what else to say, so this is my rating for the series. I'll maybe give the show a shot since it's a great-ass series. Honestly, I can go on an hour tangent about specific details that I loved, but I got shit to do, plus I doubt many people will care. My only complaints are that I have to wait for another season to come out, which is said to be spring 2022. But there's a lump sum of manga chapters you can read if you want to see how it'll progress after you're done watching the show. Also, it does get repetitive towards the later parts of the series, so please pace yourself. Probably would have not been fatigued if I chilled out. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe if you're new. I'm just your average anime fan that wants to spread the word on shows that I love, so please join the ride if you want to see new videos like this.